Have you ever felt so stuck, so hopeless, that you'd try anything to change your life? Maybe you're struggling with money problems that seem endless, or you're feeling lonely and can't seem to find love. Perhaps you're in a job that makes you miserable, but you can't find a way out. These are the moments when we feel truly desperate. We look around and it seems like everyone else has it figured out, while we're just barely hanging on. In times like these, you might have heard about manifesting, the idea that you can make your dreams come true through the power of your thoughts. But here's the thing: when you're desperate, manifesting can feel impossible. It's like trying to think positive thoughts while you're drowning. How can you focus on abundance when all you can see is lack? How can you believe in possibilities when everything feels hopeless? But don't give up just yet. Today, we're going to talk about how to manifest even when you're feeling at your lowest. We'll explore why desperation makes manifesting so challenging, but also why it's the perfect time to start. We'll dive into a powerful concept called the mirror principle and learn how it can transform your life, even in your darkest moments. So if you're feeling lost, stuck, or just plain scared about your future, this video is for you. Let's discover how to turn your desperation into the fuel that powers your dreams. When we're desperate, our minds become like a hamster wheel, spinning with worry and fear. We can't stop thinking about all the things that are going wrong. Bills pile up, relationships fall apart, and opportunities seem to slip through our fingers. In this state, it's nearly impossible to think clearly or positively. We become trapped in a cycle of negative thoughts and emotions. The more we worry, the worse things seem to get. It's like we're sending out a signal to the universe saying, "More of this, please." And unfortunately, that's exactly what we tend to get. This is why manifesting feels so hard when we're desperate. The whole idea behind manifesting is to focus on what we want, to believe it's possible, and to align our thoughts and actions with our desires. But when we're in survival mode, all we can think about is what we don't want and what we're afraid of. We're so focused on avoiding disaster that we can't see the possibilities for success. But here's the good news. This desperate state, as awful as it feels, can actually be the perfect starting point for powerful change. Why? Because when we're at our lowest, we have nothing left to lose. We're ready to try anything. And that openness, that willingness to change, is exactly what we need to start manifesting effectively. Imagine you're standing in front of a mirror. What do you see? You see yourself, of course. But have you ever thought about why? It's because the mirror is simply reflecting back what's in front of it. It doesn't judge, it doesn't change anything, it just shows exactly what's there. Now here's a mind-bending idea. What if your whole life was like that mirror? This is the essence of the mirror principle. It suggests that everything we experience in our lives, our relationships, our job, our finances, our health, is all a reflection of what's going on inside us. Just like a mirror, the world around us doesn't judge or change things. It simply reflects back our deepest beliefs, thoughts, and feelings. At first, this might sound a bit weird or even unfair. You might be thinking, "I didn't choose to be in debt," or "I don't want to be alone." And you're right, you probably didn't consciously choose these things. But the mirror principle isn't about blame. It's about understanding that our outer world is connected to our inner world in ways we might not realize. Let's break this down with an example. Say you're struggling to find a job. You've sent out dozens of applications, but you're not getting any responses. It's easy to blame the job market or think that you're just unlucky. But according to the mirror principle, this situation might be reflecting something inside you. Maybe deep down, you don't believe you're qualified for the jobs you're applying for. Or perhaps you have a hidden fear of success that's holding you back. Now, this doesn't mean that external factors don't matter. Of course they do. But the mirror principle suggests that by changing our inner world, our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, we can start to change our outer world too. This is where the power of the mirror principle comes in when you're feeling desperate. When everything seems to be going wrong, it's easy to feel like a victim of circumstance. But the mirror principle reminds us that we have more control than we think. If our reality is a reflection of our inner world, then by changing our inner world, we can change our reality. Think about it this way. If you're standing in front of a mirror with a frown, you'll see a frown reflected back at you. But if you smile, even if you don't feel like it at first, the mirror will show you a smile. In the same way, if you can find a way to shift your inner state, even a little bit, you might start to see small changes in your outer world. This doesn't mean that you should ignore your problems or pretend everything is fine when it's not. The mirror principle isn't about denial. Instead, it's about understanding that you have the power to influence your reality, even when things seem hopeless. So how do we use this principle when we're feeling desperate? It starts with becoming aware of our thoughts and feelings. What beliefs do you hold about yourself and your situation? What thoughts keep running through your mind? Once you start to notice these, you can begin to question them. Are they really true? Are they helping you or holding you back? The next step is to start consciously choosing different thoughts and beliefs. This isn't easy, especially when you're in a tough spot. But even small shifts can make a big difference. Instead of thinking, "I'll never get out of this mess," try, "I'm figuring this out, one step at a time." Instead of, "Nothing ever works out for me," try, "I'm open to new possibilities." Remember, the mirror principle doesn't mean that your problems will magically disappear overnight, but it does mean that you have more power than you might think. By working on your inner world, your thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, you can start to create changes in your outer world. Even when you're feeling desperate, you can use the mirror principle to start manifesting the life you want. In the next sections, we'll explore specific strategies for putting the mirror principle into action, even when you're feeling at your lowest. We'll look at practical steps you can take to shift your inner world and start manifesting positive changes in your life. Remember, no matter how tough things seem right now, you have the power to create change. Let's dive deeper into how you can use that power, starting today. When life feels like it's falling apart, the idea of changing your inner world might seem impossible. But this is actually the most important step in turning things around. Think of your inner world like the control panel for your life. It's where all your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs live. And just like a control panel, if you can figure out how to adjust the settings, you can start to change what's happening on the screen of your life. So, how do we start changing our inner world when we're feeling desperate? The first thing to understand is that you don't need to make huge changes all at once. In fact, trying to do that can be overwhelming and make you want to give up. Instead, We're going to break it down into smaller, more manageable steps. Let's start with awareness. This means paying attention to what's going on in your mind. What kind of thoughts do you have throughout the day? Are they mostly negative? Do you find yourself thinking things like, "I'm not good enough," or "things will never get better"? Don't judge these thoughts or try to push them away. Just notice them. Once you start noticing your thoughts, you can begin to question them. Ask yourself, is this thought really true? Do I know for certain that things will never get better? Most of the time, you'll find that these negative thoughts are just assumptions, not facts. The next step is to start introducing new thoughts. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to think everything is great when it's not. Instead, try to find thoughts that feel a little better and are still true. For example, instead of "I'm a failure," you might think, "I'm learning and growing through this difficult time." Instead of "I'll never get out of debt," try "I'm taking small steps to improve my financial situation." Another powerful way to change your inner world is through gratitude. When we're desperate, it can feel like there's nothing to be thankful for. But if you look closely, you can always find something. Maybe you have a roof over your head, or a friend who supports you, or even just the ability to breathe and move your body. Focusing on these things, even for a few minutes each day, can start to shift your energy. Remember, changing your inner world is a process. It won't happen overnight, and that's okay. The key is to be patient with yourself and keep at it. Even small changes in how you think and feel can start to create ripples of change in your outer world. When you're in a desperate situation, patience might be the last thing on your mind. You want things to change now, not later. But here's the truth. Real, lasting change takes time. It's like planting a seed. You can't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You have to trust the process and give it time. This is where many people give up on manifesting. They try to change their thoughts for a few days, don't see immediate results, and decide it doesn't work. But remember the mirror principle we talked about earlier? Just as it took time for your current situation to manifest, it will take time for your new reality to take shape. So how do we cultivate patience and trust when we're feeling desperate? One way is to focus on the present moment. Instead of constantly worrying about the future or regretting the past, try to be fully engaged in what you're doing right now. This could be as simple as really tasting your food when you eat, or feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin when you're outside. Another helpful approach is to look for small signs of progress. When we're fixated on a big goal, we often miss the little improvements happening along the way. Maybe you're still in debt, but you managed to pay a bill on time this month. Or you're still single, but you had a nice conversation with someone new. These small wins are like breadcrumbs leading you to your bigger goals. Trust is another crucial element. This doesn't mean blind faith that everything will magically work out. Instead, it's about trusting in your own ability to handle whatever comes your way. You've survived every bad day you've had so far, right? That's proof of your resilience and strength. While you're waiting for bigger changes to manifest, it's important to keep taking action. This could be learning new skills, networking, or working on your health. These actions not only move you closer to your goals, but also help you feel more in control of your life. Remember, patience doesn't mean passivity. It means continuing to work on your inner world and taking aligned actions, even when you don't see immediate results. Trust that every positive thought, every moment of gratitude, and every small step forward is creating ripples of change in your life. When we're in a tough spot, it's natural for our minds to fixate on all the things that are going wrong. We obsess over our problems, trying to figure out how to fix them. But here's the catch: what we focus on tends to grow. So by constantly thinking about what's wrong, we may actually be making our problems seem bigger and more overwhelming. This is where the power of focusing on what you want comes in. It's about shifting your attention from what you don't want to what you do want. This doesn't mean ignoring your problems or pretending everything is fine. It's about changing where you put most of your mental energy. Let's say you're struggling financially. Instead of constantly thinking about your lack of money, try to focus on the abundance you want to create. Imagine how it would feel to have financial security. What would your life look like if money wasn't a worry? How would you spend your days? What kind of person would you be? By focusing on these positive scenarios, you're doing two important things. First, you're giving your mind a break from stress and worry, which can help you think more clearly and creatively about solutions. Second, you're sending a clear message to your subconscious and to the universe, if you believe in that, about what you want to manifest. This focus on what you want applies to all areas of life. If you're lonely, instead of dwelling on your loneliness, focus on the loving relationships you want to create. If you're unhappy with your job, imagine the fulfilling career you'd like to have. One practical way to do this is through visualization. Spend a few minutes each day imagining your ideal life in vivid detail. Use all your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? How do you feel? The more real you can make it in your mind, the more powerful this exercise becomes. Another technique is to create a vision board. This is a collage of images that represent your goals and dreams. You can use pictures from magazines, printouts from the internet, or even your own drawings. Place this board somewhere you'll see it often, as a constant reminder of what you're working towards. It's important to note that focusing on what you want doesn't mean you'll get exactly what you visualize. Life has a way of surprising us, often with something even better than we imagined. The point is to shift your energy and attention towards possibility and positivity. As you practice focusing on what you want, you might notice that opportunities start to appear. Maybe you'll overhear a conversation about a job opening in your dream field, or you'll meet someone who introduces you to your future partner. These aren't coincidences. They're the result of your shifted focus, allowing you to notice opportunities you might have missed before. Remember, focusing on what you want doesn't mean ignoring reality or avoiding necessary actions. If you're in debt, you still need to pay your bills and work on your finances. If you're single and want a relationship, you still need to put yourself out there and meet people. The key is to take these actions with a positive mindset, focused on the outcome you want rather than the problems you're facing. This shift in focus can be challenging, especially when you're feeling desperate. It might feel fake or pointless at first, but stick with it. Like any new habit, it gets easier with practice. And as you continue to direct your attention towards what you want, you'll likely find that your mood improves, your stress levels decrease, and you start to see more possibilities in your life. The mirror cycle, understanding the reflection process. Now that we've talked about changing your inner world, being patient, and focusing on what you want, let's dive into something called the mirror cycle. This is a powerful concept that can help you understand how your thoughts and feelings create your reality and how you can use this knowledge to manifest positive changes in your life. The mirror cycle works like this. First, you have a thought or feeling. This thought or feeling is like an image you're holding up to a mirror. The mirror, which represents the world around you, reflects that image back to you in the form of experiences, situations, or circumstances. You then observe these reflections, which often reinforce your original thoughts and feelings, creating a cycle. For example, if you constantly think, "I'm not good enough," the mirror of life might reflect this back to you through experiences where you feel inadequate or overlooked. You might not get that job you applied for, or a relationship might not work out. When these things happen, they seem to confirm your belief that you're not good enough, which strengthens that thought, and the cycle continues. But here's the exciting part. Once you understand this cycle, you can start to change it. Instead of just reacting to what you see in the mirror of life, you can consciously choose the image you want to project. This is where all the work we've talked about earlier comes into play. When you start changing your thoughts and feelings, focusing on what you want, and practicing patience and trust, you're essentially changing the image you're holding up to the mirror. At first, you might not see much difference in the reflection. This is where many people give up, thinking it's not working. But if you persist, you'll start to notice small changes. Maybe you'll have a positive interaction with a stranger, or you'll find $1 on the street. These might seem like small things, but they're actually the mirror starting to reflect your new, more positive inner state. The key is to notice these reflections and use them to reinforce your new thoughts and feelings. As you continue this process, the reflections will become more significant. You might get an unexpected opportunity at work or meet someone who becomes a close friend. Each positive reflection helps to strengthen your new, more empowering beliefs, creating an upward spiral. Remember, the mirror cycle doesn't discriminate between good and bad thoughts. It simply reflects what you consistently think and feel. This is why it's so important to be mindful of your inner world, especially when you're feeling desperate. Even in tough times, try to find thoughts that feel a little better, a little more hopeful. The mirror will reflect these back to you, giving you more reasons to feel hopeful. Understanding the mirror cycle can be incredibly empowering. It helps you see that you're not just a passive victim of circumstances, but an active creator of your reality. Even when things seem out of your control, you always have control over your inner world, and that's where all change begins. Now that we've covered the theory, let's put it into practice with a simple manifestation technique. This exercise is designed to help you shift your focus, change your inner world, and start the process of manifesting positive changes in your life. Remember, consistency is key with this exercise. Try to do it every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Here's how it works. First, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Now think about something you want to manifest in your life. It could be anything: a new job, a loving relationship, improved health, or financial abundance. Next, close your eyes and imagine that you already have what you want. Really try to feel it. If it's a new job, imagine yourself walking into your new office, feeling confident and excited. If it's improved health, imagine yourself full of energy, doing activities you love. Make this vision as vivid and detailed as possible. As you're imagining this, pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel happy, relieved, excited? Whatever the feeling is, let yourself really experience it. This feeling is crucial. It's the energy you're sending out to the mirror of life. Now, open your eyes and write down what you imagined and how it made you feel. Be as specific as possible. This helps to reinforce the vision and the positive emotions associated with it. Finally, throughout your day, try to recreate that feeling you had during the visualization. If you imagined feeling confident in your new job, try to embody that confidence in your current situation. If you imagined feeling loved in a relationship, try to feel that love for yourself and others around you. This exercise helps you to align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with what you want to manifest. It's a way of holding up a new image to the mirror of life. Remember, you might not see immediate changes in your external circumstances, but pay attention to small shifts in how you feel and how you perceive your life. These are often the first signs that the mirror is starting to reflect your new inner state. I want to share a personal story with you about a time when I felt truly desperate. A few years ago, I lost my job unexpectedly. At the same time, a long-term relationship ended, and I found myself alone, unemployed, and unsure of what to do next. My savings were dwindling, and I couldn't see a way out. I felt like a complete failure. During this time, I stumbled upon the concepts we've been discussing: the mirror principle, the importance of changing your inner world, and the power of focusing on what you want. At first, I was skeptical. How could thinking differently change my very real, very difficult circumstances? But I was desperate enough to try anything. I started small, just trying to find one thing each day to be grateful for. Some days, it was as simple as being grateful for the sun shining or for a warm cup of coffee. I began to visualize the life I wanted: a fulfilling job, financial stability, and a sense of purpose. It wasn't easy. There were days when I fell back into negative thinking and despair, but I kept at it, reminding myself that I was planting seeds that would eventually grow. Slowly, things began to shift. I started to feel more hopeful, even though my external circumstances hadn't changed much. This new mindset gave me the energy to keep applying for jobs and networking. I began to see opportunities I might have missed before. Then one day, a friend introduced me to someone who was looking for help with a project. It wasn't a full-time job, but it was something. This small opportunity led to another, and then another. Within a few months, I had pieced together enough work to support myself. More importantly, I discovered a new career path that I was passionate about, something I might never have considered if I hadn't lost my previous job. Looking back, I can see how my lowest point became the catalyst for positive change in my life. I'm sharing this story not to say that positive thinking magically solved all my problems. It didn't. I still had to take action, face challenges, and work hard. But changing my inner world gave me the strength and perspective to keep going when things were tough. It helped me see opportunities where before I had only seen obstacles. Remember, your story is unique and your journey will be your own. But I hope that sharing my experience shows you that even in the darkest times, change is possible. You have more power than you realize to shape your life and your future. As we wrap up this journey through manifesting when you're desperate, Let's take a moment to recap the key points we've covered. We started by acknowledging how challenging it can be to think positively and focus on manifesting when you're in a desperate situation. But we also learned that this very desperation can be the catalyst for powerful change. We explored the mirror principle, understanding that our external reality often reflects our inner world. This doesn't mean we're to blame for our difficulties, but rather that we have the power to influence our circumstances by changing our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. We talked about the importance of patience and trust, recognizing that change takes time, but that every small shift in our inner world is creating ripples of change in our outer world. We learned the power of focusing on what we want rather than what we don't want, and how this can open us up to new opportunities and possibilities. We delved into the mirror cycle, seeing how our thoughts and feelings create a feedback loop with our experiences, and how we can use this knowledge to create positive change. We practiced a simple manifestation technique, giving us a practical tool to shift our energy and focus. And finally, we saw through a personal story how these principles can work in real life, even in the face of significant challenges. Remember, manifesting isn't about magical thinking or denying reality. It's about harnessing the power of your mind to create positive change in your life. It's about shifting your focus from problems to possibilities, from lack to abundance, from fear to hope. You might be in a tough spot right now, and that's okay. Don't judge yourself for feeling desperate or scared. Instead, use these feelings as motivation to try a new approach. Start small. Find one thing to be grateful for each day. Spend a few minutes visualizing the life you want. Pay attention to the thoughts you're thinking, and see if you can shift them in a more positive direction. Most importantly, be patient and kind with yourself. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. Every positive thought, every moment of gratitude, every visualization is like a seed you're planting. With time and nurturing, these seeds will grow into the life you desire. Remember, you are more powerful than you know. You have the ability to shape your reality even when things seem hopeless. Trust in this power. Keep working on your inner world and stay open to the possibilities that life has in store for you. Your circumstances might be challenging right now, but they don't define you or your future. You have the power to create change, to manifest a life you love, even when you're feeling desperate. Believe in yourself, keep going, and watch as your world begins to transform.